there any current?
Yeah, I think there
You
is.
facing into the current?
Very
Facing into the current.
slightly, he's facing into the current.
You get rid
Very
of some
minor
of this
current.
extra light. Okay.
So bouncy. Oh, I see.
You get
Okay, come on.
very nice. Thank you.
Do we know what those appendages are?
Appendages?
They're
Off their head?
modified pec fins, pectoral fins.
Oh no, not the feet. The whisker-looking things.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
Ooh.
same. They're sensory.
Purple coral back there, too.
Yeah. Did you want to look at it?
Yeah, let's look at it. I
Okay.
like the purples. It makes Wayne happy.
so the pelvic
Is there one
fins
here too?
are,
Zoom in.
Zooming in.
That's a rock. I'll look at the actual purple coral this
It's
time. It's up to the right. I
no.
thought there was a second one.
yeah.
I was wrong.
There you go.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, zooming in.
Pretty.
And
It has the parasitic thing down at the bottom there, too.
Yeah.
Gonna hit the bottom now. There we go.
wow.
zoom coming wide.
The tripod fish, the pelvic fins are the ones underneath that they're standing on, and then the pectoral fins are like the side fins, the arms, and those are modified into those feathery structures that stick out there as sensory organs. And there's actually theories that they can fill them with fluid, both of them, so that gives them their rigidity. And then when they swim, they can kind of like hydraulic fluid, drain the fluid out, and then they can fold back along the side and flap around.
That's amazing.
Are they for hearing or for like sensing cave walls?
Sensing like touch, so any kind of movement, they can sense it. And they can even, as things come in, and they can grab it and kind of push it towards their mouth with them as well.
Oh, that's a rock.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
tell.
I thought it was not. Tricked me.
This would be a super good time for the six-gill sharks to show up. Just saying, I'm least expecting it.
What are these little stick-uppy things? Iris there, Wayne.
Ah, it's a bit hot.
Yeah.
Well, okay, a sea pen
All
of
right,
some
zoom in,
sort.
please.
Zooming in. All right, and
Is that a sea pen, Zuna? You think?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, come on.
coming wide.
So those are a type of coral, or related to coral, or how does that go?
They are a type of coral.
Yeah. Soft bottom specialists, they use, instead of that hold fast, they use kind of a peduncle to anchor down into the sediment. What would be something that would scare us to see? I am really impressed where we've gone this whole expedition to date, knock on wood right here, and not seen any trash on the seafloor. We have not logged trash yet. That is always fascinating and disappointing when we see trash down on the seafloor. So that would scare me if we saw some trash, because I'm loving. I will finally be able to say, if we finish this out, I currently, in 7 seasons on Nautilus, have not been on an expedition where we have not seen trash on the seafloor. So
This would be a cool record to break.
that would be a really, really good record to break. So
The fact that we've had 3 dives without any is also a
already
record.
incredible.
Probably,
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Was the question what would scare
Yes.
us?
Where, down here or in general?
Clowns. No.
Clowns.
Underneath this rock is
Sea
a clown.
clown. Sea clowns.
Sea clowns.
Yeah. We're pretty far away from the cameras. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got 1.5 kilometers of cable between where this action is and where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's really not much
Total
to be
comms
scared
loss.
of.
Yeah, total's common spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be worried about the Kraken.
Yeah.
You guys all saw the footage that Edie Witter's team got, right, of the giant squid? Did you guys see that hit the news
Yep.
last week?
No.
No,
In
what
the
was
Gulf
it?
of Mexico.
In the Gulf of Mexico?
Yeah. I saw
Yeah.
that.
So cool. So just stoked for her team. Like the amount of deployments of that lure and camera system that I'm sure they needed to do to get that footage.
How did they see it? What did they do?
Yeah, they designed a lure, and it's a development on the same way that they got footage of one, gosh, maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
In Japan.
Yeah, near Japan. They made a lure that mimics the bioluminescent of the food of a giant squid's food, right? So the idea that I don't know exactly what the middle predator is, but giant squid eat other squid, and they studied the diets of this other squid and figured out
Zoom in,
what
please.
it eats and the bioluminescent pattern of its food, so that in the dark, this flashing lure looked like the giant squid's food was there predating on something. Somebody's mic is still bumping on a shirt or something. And using that lure in the dark, they
Come wide, please.
flashing that in
Come
the
in
dark
wide.
with the camera got a footage of a squid coming in, a giant squid coming in, and not far offshore in the Gulf of Mexico, which just makes it special to know that, right here they're in our country's backyard, or in, translate it larger to just off the coast
Bumping.
of lots of places in the world. You can see spectacular wildlife, and there's a lot that we don't know still.
Wow. Did they have lights on the cameras, or how did they actually image it?
No, they had infrared lights. They filmed in infrared, and the lure itself, I've saw it on the video. It's like a 6 to 8 inch diameter circle with a sequence of lights that go in a circle. It's like, really, that's going to attract a squid?
And it's how they got it the last
the
time
answer
too.
is yes. It is.
Can you zoom in, please?
It's just
Yeah,
that
because-
really, really clever idea of like, how are you gonna get a top predator that doesn't really want to be seen
Yeah.
into an area? Cool house or
Now let's look at this little mushroom coral.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at that.
Or what is that?
it's an Umbellula
It's a
sea pen.
Umbellula.
Whoa.
Look at the little baby umbelulas in the back there.
What? The baby Umbellulas?
Or the
Those-
baby,
the small
baby
stalks.
pointy bits.
Oh,
Stalks,
okay.
yeah, thanks. Sorry.
Thank you, Trevor. That was another 2-for-1 zoom. Had a few of those.
Look at this flow here, too. Getting back to the fun stuff.
Yeah, just in the last week. So if you want to know more about that giant squid, First time one has been filmed in U.S. waters. Definitely go check out. I mean, you could just Google giant squid Gulf of Mexico, and it will pop up all kinds of news outlets carried it. And it's such a quick video, exactly like it was before when they used this kind of, you know, very quickly the squid learns that it's been fooled and gets out of there.
How big is the giant squid, or how big are they?
How big can they be is a good question. I know that one of the bummers about this is the angle it approached. It comes kind of straight on, so they didn't really have a great chance to see it crossways to see the sides. I read an article that was talking about that it does look like it's a little bit smaller, perhaps, than the one that they filmed near Japan. But let me see if I can pull that up. The largest giant squid ever recorded was almost 43 feet long.
Wow.
But there's only 2 times we caught them live on video, which is remarkable. 2012 in Japan, and then again.
Last week.
Yeah.
Or last month.
Wow.
Last weekend, last month.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really big giant squid. I mean, 43 feet of any animal is a big animal.
There's a lot of animal.
It's a lot of animal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a school bus.
There's also a great article I read about this that, you know, the Gulf of Mexico can be really stormy, and right after they hauled this back in, you know, one of the afternoon lightning storms sort of rolled through, and the ship got struck by lightning, and it shorted out a ton of stuff on board, and the team was like rushing to figure out if, and they thought they'd lost the footage. They thought that maybe it had fried the computer that they had recorded on. It took them, you know, what sounds like some very long minutes until they could get power back up on board and back to that computer and figure out that it had saved it, you know, that they had gotten it pulled down before the lightning strike. I can't imagine that, just like sickening feeling.
Sounds like Poseidon was angry.
Sounds like the Gulf of Mexico was angry that day.
This is dramatic footage here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, Miles, those storms roll through every afternoon. We had a little lightning last night. Did you guys see it during recovery? Or during launch? Sorry.
I thought I saw it out of the corner of my eye, but when I went to look for it, it never came back.
Oh.
It's very sad.
Oh.
And then we were on watch for this morning's thunderstorm.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some just before launch. Pretty cool.
We had a water spout go over the bow of the ship one time.
Whoa.
It's not what you want.
How was that?
It was just like a big downpour. It was pretty amazing.
Wow. Little nervous as it's approaching, I suppose.
Thought I saw potential to hide Herc, but
Did it do anything to the boat?
cannot
No.
quite.
It was a pretty small water spout sort of thing.
Oh.
Not
What's
really
on the
big
sea
storms.
floor down at the base? That dark, is that just a rock?
Right, just a rock, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's just a rock.
Also, yes, a fun fact written in by a viewer, the heaviest squid is not actually the giant squid. There's one that's a little bigger if you measure it by just like body mass, and that's the colossal squid, which lives in Antarctica.
Is it
Antarctic
longer or
water
just
depths.
heavier?
Bulkier, I think. I think the
Okay.
total length, but you know, overall size, colossal squid, total length, giant squid.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
I think the thing that would scare me is if the whole face of this rock just started to fall away.
Right now?
Oh,
Yeah.
Witnessing like an
great.
underwater.
Unlike a snow avalanche, you could actually just go up and avoid it, which would be a little less scary, but it'd be really cool. All right, you can spin out. Maybe do some sideways action here.
Are there, does good footage exist of marine landslides underwater? Has
I
anybody ever been in the right place at the right time to catch that?
I don't think so.
That'd be, yeah, once in a
What would the
lifetime.
consequences of that be?
I mean, you might be able to generate a tsunami, a small tsunami.
But we'd be at the epicenter, so we'd be pretty safe, right?
Yeah.
yeah, we'd be, unless the vehicle were trapped in avalanche and it got pulled down. But I guess we could, it is at a faster rate that we could spool out.
That's pretty definite that would happen. So what's the braking? Would it pull the ship down like a kraken?
It would definitely not pull the ship down.
Then I'm not so scared.
Yeah, just trying to
Self-tether would
generate
separate.
fear here. I'm
Have you tested that?
We
Sure.
do actually have test data, engineering models and all this stuff for what would fail first.
would it be the like the A-frame D hook or something like that, or
No, it'd be the cable.
the cable? Okay.
With a plow steel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plow steel. The extra, what was it? Extra plow steel?
Extra improved.
Extra
extra
improved,
improved.
yes.
Sounds like you bought it on CBS.
I know, I was excited to learn that that was not like a,
Not just a joke.
yeah, like not just like a branding thing, you know. We bought this from Acme Cable Corporation, you know, it is the extra. that,
Yeah.
that it's actually a material strength term.
What is a material strength term?
Extra improved plow steel, which is the type of steel that is the armoring on the 6/8 cable that spools off of the winch here down to Argus.
Yeah,
It has a
does
tensile,
sound,
tensile strength of 285,000 pounds per square inch.
It definitely does sound very Roadrunner-y.
Yeah.
Wile E. Coyote, extra improved plow steel.
Mm-hmm. I don't believe lightning has ever struck Nautilus. I feel like I'd know that story. But it's a good question.
Yeah, surprised there aren't more coral here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something scared him off.
There's a fish. A little wee one.
Is it?
Go ahead and zoom.
It's super tiny.
Super tiny.
Oh no, he's not. He's got a friend too.
Bazazetus Cuskiel?
Looks like a cuskiel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's going the same speed.
All right, come wide.
That one got the memo too,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, don't talk to strangers. Swim away from large robots that show up in your neighborhood. Calmly exit the area.
Is there a lot of current?
There's
Trevor?
not, no.
No?
No, it's pretty tame.
Has it changed?
I think a little earlier there was almost zero current. Now there's a little bit of what seems like downslope current. But again, negligible.
Yeah, you can look at the marine snow. I mean, it's just not, it's just kind of hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's get a zoom on this little yellow coral, please.
Okay. Say when.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Whoops.
We've been seeing this guy a lot lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a primnoid? You think it's something else?
I
Oh,
want
yikes.
to say Chrysogorgia,
Yikes.
but
Thanks.
Okay.
not sure.
Here's some loose rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look how dark that one piece looks right in the center.
Yeah, why are they such different colors?
I
Just
think,
sedimentation?
yeah, I think that's mostly just sedimentation.
Oh, okay. So one happens to be smoother and holds the sand less?
Yeah. Or maybe
Taller?
some moved a little bit.
Adam.
Welcome to the home stretch, 8 to 12, last hour.
There's a big or a bamboo down there or something.
Mhm. Yeah, we're coming up on 24 hours of this dive, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's been a good dive. We've seen a
It
lot
has
of good
been.
stuff, and I
This
think we
one-
got full sample drawers, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love it when you're like, we've handed off to everybody. Like, we launched this in the water, 12 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12. Like, I feel like you get like a merit badge for every, 24-hour dive. There's just something a little extra special about making it all the way around the clock.
And 12 to 4 will be the only one to have 3 watches.
Yeah. And they get to do the launch and the recovery.
It's good. We've got a new SCF ready to learn and get questions from everybody tuned in online. So stay tuned for that watch with Justin Richards. Jake, how noisy is Hercules to the biology?
From what I've heard, it's pretty noisy.
Okay.
I know Brendan Phillips has done some, like he's taken some recordings.
Oh, it just has to get a lot closer to your mouth. Move your mic up a little closer.
I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, I heard you a little bit, but that'll help. Say
Try
something.
again. Yeah, now you're
hello.
up.
Yeah,
Good
you're up.
change.
check, mic check.
All right.
Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 1.
Yeah, I know Brendan. He's done some,
Mhm.
recorded some sound from the ROVs, and
Mhm.
he's found it's actually really noisy. It doesn't sound good. He's like, he's played it back. to us in class before, and I don't know. Basically, just I think the hydraulics are the main source of that. And yeah, that's all I know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good answer.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? That's the vehicle.
It'd be funny to have that MP3 file and just have it like shuffle all. You're playing all the MP3 files on your phone, and just that comes up. Like,
Yeah.
listen to this happy song, and all of
This
a
is
sudden,
my jam. Yeah.
what? What
Out
is
for a
that?
jog, like throw your phone.
But I imagine stealth was not a factor of the engineering requirements.
It was not. There are some vehicles that are much less noisy, and there's, it's an area of robotic development and research. It is kind of like, one vehicle doesn't do it all. They all have different strengths, different weaknesses. So, yeah, Dr. Brennan Phillips has a lot of research. The second part of that question that came in: are things scared off of either the vehicle before we see them? Yes, we believe they are.
Is that just a rock? You zoom in there, please, Wayne?
No, it's not. I don't.
Maybe?
I think it's dead coral.
Rock.
Rock.
Rock on.
Rock.
Tricked everyone.
I didn't fall for it.
I must salute you.
Doesn't he get it, Buck? He's getting it, Buck, every time he's
Well, I
wrong.
mean, I could guess wrong for $1.
Yeah. I think the original thing was if I had a buck for every
Elephant.
time I was wrong.
We need to have
Giraffe.
a jar. You have to put $1 in the
Jar.
jar every time you misidentify something.
No one will guess ever.
Yeah, everyone will just be silent. Don't do that. That'll make my job so much harder.
And you'll be out a bunch of
like,
money.
Kind of like for a while, we had to, as we were working on our role model behavior, we had to create a jar for SPL where you owed your science communication fellow.
That existed?
Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
Oh, yeah.
What is our role model behavior?
It's not swearing on the live feed where the children are listening to you. Yeah.
Zoom.
Speaking at a 6th grade
Sponge.
level.
Wait,
Yeah.
can you zoom in, please?
Zooming.
Yeah, not necessarily 6th grade level, but just, choosing your terms appropriately.
It's a miniature version of that.
Yeah, exactly.
The big one that we saw.
Yeah.
Recorded forever on YouTube, which is new this year.
All right, come wide, please.
Coming wide.
So it sounds important for a lot of shallow water species, like for mating. A lot of species use their swim bladders, create sounds, and also snapping shrimp are really big in the shallow waters. What about deep sea? I know as whales use sounds. Do some of the other animals? Just wondering, since like fish don't really have the air swim bladders as much.
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know. Nobody's ever studied that on Nautilus,
this is cool.
because we're noisy, but it's a really good question. Yeah, there's some super cool research about like the way larval fish find reefs is actually through noise detection. You can hear what a healthy reef sounds like,
Wow.
which is pretty wild.
Pop, 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 pop,
Snap,
pop.
snap, snap. Yeah. It was one of the really cool things. Neither my parents scuba dive or, neither are scientists, but my mom had the chance to go on a vacation and go snorkeling a few years ago, and it's one of her like really stark memories from it was listening to turtles bite off chunks of coral and crunch on them, and she was like, I had no idea that turtles were eating rocks as she described it, and I was like, yeah, Mom, and we get to talk about that. That was just like a really cool thing for me to get to share about the ocean with my family, because it was one of those things that I'd learned and just kind of internalized and was just kind of part of my world, and it's always really cool to share it with people. Which I think is a big part of why I love broadcasting these dives as well, is getting to, share what we love and know and don't know about the ocean with lots of people all over the world.
Trevor, that last coral was all you with the framing. All I did was keep it in focus. So,
Nice work.
good job.
Awesome. I suppose you got the three things all at once. You got the focus, the iris, and the zoom. So
Yeah.
You need 3 hands.
Yeah, I didn't touch the zoom at all. I had the iris and the focus.
I haven't been looking at how you do it. I remember Ed was showing me he's got the like this weird hand position. He can get many buttons with one. It's like that's impressive.
Yeah. I'm still 2 foot driving an automatic over here, if you know what I mean.
Totally.
Jake, you want to answer this question of how are the vehicles powered?
The vehicles are powered from onboard Nautilus.
Mhm.
The power goes down through the cable all the way down to Argus, and then Argus, the power goes from down through the tether to Hercules, and eventually, yeah, that's basically it.
How much power do we send down?
It's 240 around volts, right? And then it drops.
It's 20-something hundred, 24, 2500. But you could even cheat and give her a different answer than she's asking for and read off the cabinet. That's true too.
What's the cabinet say?
First one's volts. The next 3 are amps.
Amps
there we go.
for you to read off the cabinet to me.
Top number is 450 volts. And then it.
There's a decimal in the next 3.
Okay. Yeah, the next one is 41.7, and 39, and 41. And
So why are there 3 different numbers for amps?
because there are 3 different conductors that go down through the tether. Three phases.
3 different what?
I can't hear Jake.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah, you gotta
hear
put your
Right,
mic like
almost in your mouth.
really in your mouth. Yeah, because there are 3 different what?
There are 3 different phases.
Yeah.
Megan's so
I'm cheering
supportive.
for you. I'm so supportive. Keep going. You're doing great. I'm like your dance mom. I'm like, yay! What's 3 different phases mean?
Oh God.
Or like
Solid
like-
liquid gas.
That's a geek joke. They're gonna think we're nerds now.
Oh no.
God forbid.
The secret's out. Oh no. We've kept it secret for so long.
Sorry, as an inadvertent bump.
That's all right.
You're doing great, Jake.
Try my best.
Yeah. Hey. Learning a lot,
Fish.
right? Think about
Yeah.
the fact that it's just been like a week since you
There's a fish.
hadn't learned any of this.
Zoom in, please.
Zooming in on.
We set sail 1 week ago today.
Wow.
Wow.
It's the helisaur.
Halosaurus Rex.
So this one's dorsal fin is not white like that other one was. That we
Yeah.
thought was a parasite. So.
It's in the same spot.
It is in the same spot.
yeah.
I
Same
gotta-
shape.
Okay, come wide. Maybe the other one's just got some hair dye, some
Yeah.
fin dye.
Okay, coming wide.
Gotta lighten your hair in
that
the
other
summer.
one was rebelling against his parents.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Don't tell me what to do, Mom. He probably never knew his mom, Miles. Way to bring that up.
I didn't break his home.
Good one.
Oh, no.
Wow, last hour of shift here.
We're doing great, team.
Role model behavior.
You know the joke's bad when you look at the clock to see how much time's left in the shift.
Yeah, well, here we are.
48
okay.
minutes.
So can anyone explain 2-phase versus 3-phase and why we need 3-phase for some large electronics?
Yes. Not me. Go, Trevor.
Am I going?
You
okay. Okay, here we go. So, electrons are in the wire in your house in a single phase, 110 volt. And that goes positive and negative back and forth, real big, real fast. So that follows what's called a sine wave. Goes up to positive 160 volts, and then down to negative 160 volts, with an average of 110, 120 volts. That's called AC, alternating current. The voltage and the current both go up to positive and then back down to negative. And that happens 60 times every second, or 60 hertz. So that's what powers your toaster, it powers your hairdryer, it powers all this stuff. It doesn't power your flashlight, that's DC, where the positive is always on the plus side and the negative is always on the negative side. That's single phase. That means there's one wave, one sine wave going from low to high to low to high, 60 times per second. So that's all well and good, but if you need more jam, like Herc does, then you need more power. So how do you get more power? You can have 3 phases. Now that sine wave, that up and then down and then up and then down, each phase has its own wave.
Fish.
Let's look at the fish. I'll come back to this.
Pushing in.
Go ahead.
It's a very happy, well-adjusted halosaur.
Look at that.
Who got the memo?
Yep. All right, come wide. I'm going to hit a rock here.
Coming wide.
Oh, just caught it. Okay, so if you got your wave,
He's going to hang with us
single
for a bit.
phase, then as it's going from all the way at the top, positive, to all the way at the bottom, negative, it's going to cross through 0. And 0 volts means, or 0 amps of the current, means no power at that specific time. So 60 times a second, I guess 120 times per second, you're not getting any power at all. So the way to do that is to overlay 3 different waves on top of each other. So the first phase is up and down and up and down. And as that first phase is coming down, for example, the second phase is starting to go up. And then the third one is also overlaid there too. So you can average it out to be more power in the same, from the same overall voltage. Hopefully that kind of made a little bit of sense, but yeah, that's why we use 2 or 3 phases to kind of average it out a little bit better.
So it would be more constant power all the time.
Kind of, yeah.
So why do you run everything with DC then?
We don't.
No.
No, but why? Why don't you?
Why don't
DC's
you?
dangerous. DC is...
Well, that's more historical than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get it back into the Edison
Tesla and
Tesla
Edison.
debate. Yeah, that's beyond my pay grade. I'm
No.
not a history guy.
But like for Hercules, I mean, when they designed it, they could have said, okay, we want to operate this as a DC device, but that just wouldn't make sense at all.
It wouldn't make sense. Yeah, well, there's a couple of reasons for that. There's standards, which it's easy to follow a standard versus creating your own, and also it's powering a motor. And AC motors are really standard, really easy to get power out of AC and turn it into spinny bits, which is what a motor does. So you could make a DC motor, but then that has internal conversion from this to that, all sorts of fun stuff going on there. But AC motors are really a standard industrial kit. So putting that inside a waterproof housing and filling it with oil is more of an off-the-shelf part than building your own thing.
That's a big
Big
coral.
curlicue.
But they make DC motors.
They do, but it's harder to find something of this form factor and this power, I believe. I don't actually know that. I've never looked into it.
That was an awesome explanation. Thanks, Trev.
You're welcome.
So 3-phase, are all 3 phases sent down a single wire, or do you have...
It's down the 6/8, but they're down 3 different conductors. So if you look at a cross-section of the 6/8, you'll see 3 different wires and 3 different fibers, as well as all the armoring and shielding and jacketing and yada yada.
Can you have more than one phase on one wire?
No, you cannot. You need at least 2 to have 1 phase. Go figure.
So how many prongs do the 3-phase have? 4 prongs, 1 ground and...
3. You can have it grounded, but you don't have to have it grounded. You can have, oh, here we go. Now we're getting technical. You can have it in delta or Y configuration. delta is the phases are relative to each other. Y or star configuration is where they're relative to a common ground. So you can do it with 4, or you can do it with 3.
You gonna play hide
Is
and
that
seek?
red on the right?
Is that an enemy?
We can zoom in on that. Go ahead.
Okay, zooming in.
There it is.
And Trevor, can you talk about, so the power comes out of the ship's generators. Do we then have
Come
to
wide,
change
please.
it
Wide.
or transform it or step it up? I think people have heard probably, or long-term viewers have probably heard all those terms. Can you explain what that transition is?
Yeah, totally. Can I get a bump in?
Oh, sorry. Bump.
Yeah, ship supplies us voltage at, I think it's 360 volt first, and then that's bumped up in a transformer to what we have it set to is 450 through this, that's what's called a static inverter. It just changes power.
Does it generate 50 hertz?
360 or 380 is 50 hertz, then the
Yeah.
static inverter changes it to 450, 60 hertz.
Right.
That goes to our cabinet, which bumps it up from 450 to a lot more, 20-something hundred, 2600 or something like that. It changes depending on the length of the wire we have on there. That runs down the 6.8. By the time it gets to the vehicles, it's down to about 2300 volts due to the line losses through that cable itself. And then on board, the motor itself takes full voltage, full high voltage, 2300 volts, whatever. And then the rest of it to run all the lights and cameras and whatnot, we step that down to 120, similar to what you'd see inside your house in North America.
What is in that little sandy area that's red?
Looks like shrimp
Can you
and
zoom
I
in
don't
on
know.
that?
Yeah, we can. Stand by.
Is it
Mushroom,
a
mushroom.
mushroom coral? I haven't
Stand by,
really
Wayne.
seen
Oh,
mushroom.
standing by.
We haven't seen a mushroom coral for a while, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
why.
it's cool.
Right at the end of my leash here, but go ahead, Wayne.
Shrimp and a
Okay,
mushroom.
pushing in.
Shrimp and a mushroom and a crab.
Shrimp and mushrooms.
Wow, that's a whole meal.
Little okra.
Cornbread.
Beautiful shrimp.
Oh yeah.
Look at his eyes glowing in the darkness.
Yep.
And there's something else down on the bottom left. too, I
Yeah,
think.
there's
Was it a
something
crinoid
big.
or
It's a
I can't remember
crinoid.
now.
Yeah.
A crinoid, just a crinoid.
And
Just
sort
It's a
Crinoid
poop.
fecal
lab.
matter.
It's
Okay.
incredible how many crinoids are at the
Yeah.
Really
bottom.
is.
So Trevor, what would happen if we had, as they say, loss of structural integrity of the cable?
Lost structural integrity. By then, the electronics and fiber are long gone. What's up?
I'm sorry. Fiber loss is what I was pointing at.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Cameras would go first.
Cameras go first, then your communication with the vehicle, and by this point, your vehicles are already, to you, already totally dead. So you have no idea what's going on, and if the structural integrity was lost, then theoretically the vehicles would be not connected anymore, because I guess that's what that means. But the first thing to fail is fiber, usually.
Yeah.
However, under tension alone, the first thing to fail is the conductors, actually. So an overtension event would usually cause the conductors to stretch and short. But compression or bending wrecks the fibers first.
I noticed the props had what looked like prop guards on them. Is that pretty much standard when you're doing ROV work?
Sometimes. So on Herc, only the starboard lateral has
Oh no, you
a
mean
guard.
Nautilus's?
Oh, I mean Nautilus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, as we were coming up, I saw on one of the cameras, it seemed like a big prop guard kind of thing.
That's just part of her original design.
all right, let's zoom in on this purple guy, please.
Yep.
Then we'll
Okay.
transition to the yellow one after.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, pushing in.
Yeah, so the propellers never, I mean, the main engine isn't on when we're doing ROV ops, so the propeller is never spinning. We're using the jet pump, which yesterday's recovery, we actually had a really good look at the jet pump spinning. It oscillates around and has directional forcing, and then there's a bow thruster, like a through bow thruster
Wow.
that can push either direction.
All right, come wide.
Coming wide.
But I always think our propeller looks really, it's a neat design.
really
It's
cool.
pretty cool. It's one of my
Variable
favorite.
pitch.
Yeah.
Super cool.
The
Do you know why
Nautilus
it's variable
propeller.
pitch, Megan?
Hmm?
Do you know why it's variable pitch?
Do you know why it is?
Do you know
I
why?
mean, like what a variable pitch propeller does, or
Like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you can feather it for overall force, and the propeller spins constantly when our engine is on. Yes.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
The-
So when Thor is on, it is spinning, so you can feather
The-
it to not
Zoom in, please.
apply
The-
forward force.
The
to-
drive shaft is connected to the crankshaft with no transmission. So it's
Yes.
however fast the pistons are spinning the crankshaft, that's how fast our drive shaft turns.
So small.
So whopping 150 RPMs.
So if you don't want to go anywhere, you have to flatten out your pitch on your propeller.
What's this little squishy clear bit down to the right? Oh, there's an encrusting sponge, too.
Also, if you want to go in reverse, you just
Sponge.
feather the other direction.
Yeah, flip it around. Looks like a little sponge. Yeah, little somebody.
All right, come wide.
Coming wide.
Is that?
Bump.
Ooh.
That's not going to change, or is that going to change with our new engine? Are they
That's-
planning to redo the
Prop
little
speed
shaft?
should remain the same.
Okay.
Engine shaft speed will increase.
Yeah.
There will be a transmission
Great.
Yeah.
presumably put in.
You're still keeping the same drive?
That's what I've heard.
It's going to be wild.
You're so cool.
So cool.
Wonder what they're going to do with Thor.
Scrap.
I hope we all get
Museum piece.
bracelets. Yeah.
What's Thor?
Thor is our main engine.
Ship it to Ethan to make
Oh.
knives.
Yeah, Thor is our main engine,
Have you seen his valve?
which is being
Or is-
replaced this upcoming off season. We're taking the original engine out of Nautilus and bringing in a new one. So big change. Big change.
What are we gonna call it?
I don't know. I feel like we won't know till get it out to sea.
Increase in power? Or
Oh
stay the
yeah,
same?
it's like half the size and twice the power.
Wow.
Yeah. This is our original engine, which is amazing. The Nautilus
Yeah.
is 52 this year.
You could fit inside a cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
Yeah.
enormous.
wow.
It's amazing. Definitely recommend getting someone of the crew to give you a tour.
Yeah, you could ask Allison. We could do. It's best. Definitely do it when we're diving, when we're on station and Thor is off. Is my
Or in port.
or in port. But yeah, Allison could arrange a engine room tour, I suspect. Yeah, our crew are really proud of their engine room, as they should be. And there's a lot of just amazing knowledge, to keep a system like this that's original in a ship functioning and taking us all over the world like it does. Yeah, so sourcing spares has been quite an adventure for a number of years.
I would love to hear if they have an actual hours meter on that, because I did some napkin math. I'm thinking it's around like 100,000 or 200,000 hours, which is a lot, but I don't know if I'm right.
That'd
so
be really cool to see.
it'd be really cool to see that.
So yeah, that is a major project for the off season this year. For the shore season, as many of us call it.
Let's zoom in on. Was that another spinny one?
Mm-hmm.
It's a small spinny one. Okay.
Zooming in.
Sure. thought it was one of those precious ones, but it's not what I was
I
expecting.
was ready for it to be
Oh,
the
it's
so metal one, but
and it has
it's
a
really-
miniature shrimp in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Miniature
that's
world,
so
miniature shrimp.
weird.
Yeah, how do they find each other? Why do they always have just one?
Well, it's
Who
finds
who?
obviously symbiotic, but
Mm-hmm. But like, how do they all stretch out, you know? Put out a one ad?
no.
Yeah, you should see the Craigslist.
Craigslist? Is there like a Tinder for coral and shrimp?
Maybe. Single stocks in your area.
Just
It wouldn't be like vacation rentals
Can't-
by owner. It would be like, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of something clever,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm
know.
coming up
I'm
blank.
like, come
It's too
on,
late in the
brain.
night.
Come on, brain. Let's go. 30 minutes left.
I'll
Don't
leave a
start
clever joke
slacking out.
up to as an exercise for viewers at home.
Exactly. Let us know what clever joke should have gone in that
That's so
awkward
sick.
pause.
Yeah.
Write us a note. Let us know where you're writing us clever jokes from.
What's that one coming up right below the lasers?
Yeah.
The yellow one?
It's the same yellow one, isn't
Oh,
it?
is it?
Go
Looks
ahead.
like a
Zoom.
red
It's-
stalk on it or
I
something.
think that's the,
Zoomy zoom zoom.
I think it's the
Oh, the brittle stars.
Yeah.
the brittle stars. I think.
It's doing just like the fish do.
Yeah.
Show the side view.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
So twisted. When they're little, like, there's less to hold on to for that
Yeah.
ophiuride, for that
All right,
brittle
come
star.
on.
They get so
Yeah.
swirled up.
Now that's a hug.
Bring it in for the real thing.
It's
There's an umbellula.
Abalula.
Last half hour, guys.
We're doing great. So that means about 4.5 hours left in this dive. So get your questions in for our team. Maybe hold a couple questions to get to share with the 12 to 4 team taking over, wrapping up this dive.
I think those are Paragorgium.
The yellow ones?
Yeah. Took me like 2 hours
To feel confident on what they were.
That's why she's been so quiet.
I'm still not sure.
So Paragorgia, I've seen pink ones, but they can come in multiple colors.
Yeah.
Would
It's
that
not
be,
Paramaricia.
They all can apparently. It's quite frustrating.
So shallow water corals get color from zooxanthellae. What do deep sea corals get color from?
I think they're just tissue
Just
pigments, and some of them are color variant within a species even. Because I always want it to be really clear, like, oh, it's a pink one. It must be a go to this group. But yeah, Steve was talking about some of them could be like white all the way to pink, all the way to that like bright, bright pink, all the way to almost like maroon red.
Yeah, there's some lyopathies that are color variants, and they'll be right next to each other, and people have been trying to figure out if it's diet-based or what.
It's like this one's more a Taurus, that one's more a Libra.
well, it could be like hair color for humans, you know.
Yeah, could be.
Phenotype.
Mm-hmm.
Your hair color doesn't change with what you eat.
True.
Shallow water corals, it's been interesting how they can switch out zooxanthellae.
Yeah.
And they've even shown that some zooxanthellae clade are more heat tolerant, so species and like shallow pools will have clade D because it allows them to survive those higher temperatures.
Isn't it amazing? And that you can kick them out and then get them back when the overall physiological stress level like goes down. All right, come on, corals, hang on.
2015, what we saw in a lot of the corals out in the American Samoa was that a lot of them, they'd bleach on top, and the zooxanthellae would kind of hide underneath it in the shade. And there's even a woman that was doing some shade experiments. She showed that if you covered them, it would just keep them from bleaching, even though it was still getting hot. Just getting out of the sunlight seemed to help them survive.
Interesting. That too is one of my ways to survive in the tropics.
Could you give me a bump there, please, Wayne?
Oh, sorry.
Cold water was the other thing that really helped. If you took a bleached coral and then exposed it to cold water, the
Fishy,
zooxanthellae would come back
trippy.
and would stay there for up to a month, even though it was still warm.
Wow. How were you dousing them in cold water? Or were these lab ones that you
No, this was out on the reef, basically sucking up seawater, putting it through a chiller, and then pumping it right back down by the coral with a garden hose.
Cool.
So you're saying we just need to chill the ocean?
Exactly, and there's even been proposals to create these huge coil chiller systems out on the reef.
No.
Yeah, because if you take deep seawater, you know, like the whole OTEC NOAA kind of thing, and you suck up deep seawater, 2 degrees Celsius down at the bottom, and you bring them up to the corals, and you push them through a radiator type system along the reef, then it would
Zoom in, please.
cool it down.
Wow.
And then you can return the seawater right back down to deep ocean, so you're not contaminating anything. It's got a little associate on it.
And then you're not dumping all that excess heat into the air either. To you get normal air conditioning
Yeah,
of the water.
yeah. Although that would bring warmer water temperatures down to the bottom, but maybe by counter-current circulation,
Yeah.
you'd have the
Yeah, that sounds
Suck it
like
out.
it could have unintended consequences.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of, like you say, conversation about building a big power generation system like this on Oahu, using these thermal gradients or chilling buildings in Oahu, using it. And I just remember a lot of the conversations about that excess heat bank then going down into deep water, and people just having questions because didn't know what that would do. Is that project dead, or is it moving forward?
I
In
mean,
Hawaii.
it's all. Oh, as far as using it for air conditioning, I don't know. They're doing it other places. I mean, Big Island, they have it sort of a demonstration out there at the OTEC facility,
Oh,
and
cool.
they have several of the buildings are being cooled by the deep water. There's even, well, I'm not sure if it's still there. When I was doing my PhD out there, there was an experimental garden that my friend ran. She was like the gardener, and they were growing cold water species because they had pipes going through the ground to keep the ground cool, and that allowed them to, you know, keep the roots cool and grow these colder water or colder weather plants, even though it was tropical.
That's so interesting.
And it created fresh water because it would condense on the pipes, and that's where they got all their water from.
Oh, cool.
And we got free vegetables because we were friends, and they couldn't sell the vegetables, so they had to get rid of it. And we volunteered to eat them.
Who doesn't love free vegetables?
Yeah.
Is
Fish
that a
down on the
fish?
bottom.
Yeah.
And a whole thurian, I think. Or is it a rock?
Rock holothuria.
He hasn't got the memo yet. Let's sneak in on him.
See what I can do.
Oh, he got the memo.